Welcome back, my friends. The Silent Beggar in Lebanon. During the Civil War, 1975 to 1990, there was a beggar who roamed the streets of Beirut. He was dressed in tattered clothes, had a foul smell, and his face and hands were dirty. He walked barefoot, with unkempt hair and beard, and on top of all that, he was mute. The silent beggar had nothing but a long, black, miserable, torn and dirty coat that he wore regardless of the season. Some kind-hearted people in Beirut would give alms to the silent beggar and show him kindness. He had a great sense of dignity. If someone gave him a loaf of bread, he would refuse to take a bite until they did. If someone gave him a bundle of bread, 10 loaves, he would not accept it. If someone offered him a cup of tea, he would wait until they had a sip before drinking it himself. If someone gave him money, he would not take it. If someone gave him a cigarette, he would wait until they lit it for him. If someone gave him a pack of cigarettes, 20 cigarettes, he would refuse it. He was always smiling, with a bright face, and he was polite and kind to both young and old. He had no known name except for the Silent One. No one complained about him because he never harmed anyone, never attacked anyone, never approached women, never reached out for someone else's money, and never entered a building to sleep in. He slept on the ground and covered himself with the sky. The fierce civil war was still raging, and people talked about the circumstances of the invasion and the news of the people and their conditions. The Israeli army entered Beirut, sweeping through it from multiple fronts. They encountered fierce resistance from the heroic people of Beirut, and the city suffered from brutal shelling, terrifying sniper fire, and destructive shells. This went on for several months, while the silent beggar remained indifferent to everything happening around him, as if he lived in another world. Because war resembles the day of judgment, each person will be preoccupied with his own concerns. No warning could convince some people to the danger of the Israeli army reaching the streets and alleys where the silent beggar used to wander and sleep on the sidewalks of West Beirut. As the war intensified and the Israeli army advanced towards West Beirut, people lost hope in the silent beggar. They abandoned him to his fate, and some stood at the corners of the roads and the doors of buildings, watching his destiny. The Israeli army's troops advanced and approached the silent beggar. They had a military armored vehicle belonging to the special forces, and 3 officers descended from it, 1 with the rank of major and 2 with the rank of captain. They were accompanied by 5 soldiers, and behind them were several armored vehicles filled with soldiers. The group that approached the silent beggar held their rifles loaded with bullets, placing their fingers on the trigger, and they looked around cautiously. The atmosphere was terrifying, filled with horror, and the place was full of corpses, death, the smell of blood, and the smoke of gunpowder emanating from everywhere. They all approached the silent beggar, who was lying on the ground, indifferent to everything happening around him, as if he was listening to Beethoven's symphony, fate knocking at the door. When they were 2 steps away from him, he stood up, raised his head high as if welcoming death with joy. The Israeli commander raised his hand towards his head and saluted the silent beggar, saying in Hebrew, "On behalf of the Israeli Defense Forces, I salute you, Colonel, and I thank you for your dedication in serving Israel. Without you, we would not have entered Beirut." The silent beggar returned the salute in the same manner, calmly, with the same gentle smile on his face, and jokingly said in Hebrew, "You're a little late," as the armored military vehicle moved forward, followed by 3 escorting vehicles, leaving behind shock, astonishment, and tons of questions. Some Palestinian intellectuals who were proficient in Hebrew were close to the scene and could hear the dialogue. They translated the conversation, but they were unable to translate the shocked faces of the people from those neighborhoods in Beirut where the Israeli spy, the silent beggar, had lived. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video.